Hi guys, my name is Borro Dante, and welcome back to Overpain. And so today's patient is Box with a hip avatar, and as hip of a forest creature. Hey Borro, hello, here is another submission for the pile of Overpain. I know, right? I've been teaching... Why am I so sarcastic? I've been teaching myself to paint digitally by watching your videos. Thanks for all the knowledge you share. This is a piece I did last week and I'm not sure how to push it further. I tried to apply all the techniques you teach, but seeing how they should have been done would be amazing. Hope it gets chosen, but if not, thank you for providing the potential and teaching what you know. Yeah, I really like this dude. I think it's a pretty cool piece. A cool character, but as a picture, it's kinda weird, right? Mostly as a composition. So anyway, let's see what we can do. So this is a very vertical picture. Should I do this? Let's see how this episode would look like. Well, I mean, in any case, the first thing we would do is probably make the picture a bit less vertical. I don't know what the intention of it was. Maybe as a phone background it's cool, but they usually slide around. I don't know. So I'm gonna just address it as a picture. In general, the first thing I notice is that the composition is really weird, at least to this extent. I don't know, showing a little bit of the trees may be a thing, but overall I would even probably add more space around the character, because it's really like the picture is just cropped around the edges of the character. It's kind of weird. This is something we see pretty frequently on this channel. I don't know why you guys do it. It's like maybe it seems like this way the character will be seen better. I think I talked about it before. But anyway, let's just imagine we go this way. Just trash this whole thing to fill the space. Well, this feels like a much more of a picture right away, you know, when the character is actually in the shot and not just accidentally got into it. I left a little bit of the trees because maybe it was kind of a thing, you know, maybe it should have some sort of an illustration value, like there's a character and then like picture transforms into just trees going around. But they're really dull and dark. They feel like maybe they were a background for some text or something. In that case, that would work probably, but as it is, like I don't have any information. Obviously, we should do at least this way. As I think about it, I even want to make it smaller, like even more space around the character, because like I don't know what to do with him when he's like this. Yeah, this way. So we would see like the character in here, and then there's like the main action going on. And this third, you know, the mushroom and the dialogue with the mushroom, sort of this guy. So yeah, now it's like something's actually going on and we're supposed to see it. So his arm is probably going somewhere around here, like I'm imagining how the body goes beyond the initial crop. I wonder if this is like a thing that's really not clear a lot of the times, and how important it is to make it right, the cropping of the picture. Like the character where it's supposed to be at least this way, you know? It should be, well, right now it still looks weird because like the elbow is almost falling out of the picture, and on top we have a lot of this empty space, but I'm gonna make that empty space work. Like I'll add more contrast to the trees and make, again, as I said, bring a bit more of the illustration value to it. So I think it's gonna look cool as it is. And yeah, generally we'll try to frame the picture a little bit with the two-dimensional patterns of these branches, so it's gonna look cool in that sense. So that's my idea, because I feel like there was some kind of a hint on that kind of illustrational value in the original. I'm still like super puzzled by the fact that the picture is initially so tall and everything is painted at the bottom. Like if it's not a page from a book, then the only explanation maybe is that this picture was automatically, like the canvas was created by some mobile app in the proportions of some kind of mobile device, and Brybox just painted at the bottom part of it because it was more comfortable to do it that way, so it was kind of unconscious that it turned out this way. Well, I think this is an important thing to keep in mind. Like, as you may have noticed, every overpaint I start with changing the cropping if it needs to be changed. That's the first thing we should do. After that, we may reposition the smaller objects, or maybe the positioning of some body parts or whatever, and then already we go to the rendering and whatever. So one thing I want to change, if we keep it this way, obviously I'll probably add a bit of a shoulder over there somehow. Well, not that massively, it looks kind of weird that way, but you know, like there would be more body like this, and maybe he won't be like exactly naked because it wasn't really visible before. So I don't know, we'll add some kind of natural clothing, maybe some kind of this green stuff will be growing differently in there with the branches. Maybe that will make his clothing in some sort. Otherwise, this is a very weird green naked person. So we'll do that. Maybe we'll highlight a bit more of the silhouette, so we'll see more of the light of the background over here or something. That'll look kind of cool. Plus all the branches that I've been talking about, the illustration kind of two-dimensional branches, they will support the picture. Then the shoulder, I would just reposition it a bit like this. Like there's nothing particularly wrong with this guy. I actually really like his design in general. Like he's a cool character. But I'm adapting it to the new composition, so I don't want this elbow to touch the canvas too closely like this. So we'll make the arm going a bit like this, slightly away from the edge, the bottom edge. And yeah, we'll add more light over here. I'm thinking maybe we should make him look at the mushroom to have the actual dialogue going on more, because right now he's just very oddly staring at us. It's kind of cool, but I'm not sure, like, it doesn't exactly look creepy, and it doesn't really bring any message. Like his eyes are sort of blank a bit, like he's in default position. So I probably changed that. I'll work a little bit on the geometry of these mushrooms because they feel a bit uninteresting. There's nothing specifically wrong with them, like they could have been this way if they'd really have to, but they definitely don't have to. Like again, we could bring more illustration value to it, create a more of an interesting composition, not just this kind of spot of mushrooms and then there's no mushrooms everywhere, you know? It's kind of not very pleasing to the eye. Maybe we'll make like a spot of mushrooms here, a few of them here, and a couple of them sticking out like this, so it would look a bit more interesting. Maybe a few smaller ones, not that much glowing ones, would stick out over here, so we would feel like there's like a natural spread distribution of mushrooms on his body. Obviously, they're supposed to be on his back, but it doesn't mean that they should be like literally in one stack like that. Illustration value. Is that a thing? I keep saying that. Now, one more thing. I really like this flower, but it's a bit odd looking. So I'll just add a bit more of an interesting shape. Kind of the same thing as the mushrooms problem, but it's just really flat, exactly perfectly in front of us like this. Like, you know, if it would be just laying on the floor and we would be like looking at the floor, it would look exactly like that as well. We should adapt it a bit more to the fact that it's on the head, you know? So yeah, these are my thoughts, and then we'll see what we can do with the general location to support the character even more or something like that. Let's start. Alright, so this is the progress so far. Let's see how much we changed, because I haven't looked at the original at all. Well, this is not exactly original, but... Alright, so I rotated the face a little bit, but kept the eyes looking at the viewer, because it actually worked much better that way, especially after I rotated the face a bit. I lost the veins all over the body, but I'll bring them back later. Remade the mushrooms, still work in progress, but I think it's kind of cool looking, more or less. And yeah, a bunch of different black branches supporting the composition all over the place, like some kind of a frame. So that's what I meant. Overall, I'm trying to dim down the lighting that is coming from the top and make sure that the lighting on the face is actually from this mushroom, because it kind of makes sense that it would catch much more light from the bright mushroom than from whatever's going on at the top. So yeah, I think with the support of the branches and whatever is going on over here and here, it really kind of feels much more cozy and as an actual picture, like we're seeing this character in between the branches, like in the deep woods, and he just noticed us hiding in these branches. Maybe even like that. So yeah, I made sure that these mushrooms, they're like more in 3D, so some of them are going in this three-dimensional curve, so some of them stick out like this and some of them stick out like this, more towards us. And yeah, we now kind of can see the shape of the body of this creature, when before we had no opportunity to even show that all that much, I guess. Making sure that the lighting makes sense, meaning at the bottom of the fingers of this arm, the body actually goes dark, and not the way it was, like the fingers were lit by something that is not present. And this way we have a cool silhouette of the fingers, because there's a brighter background because of that mist. So I introduced this more of a blue, like closer to violet background fog, so it would be different from the more of a cyan glow of these mushrooms, and make the picture a bit more colorful. So yeah, one thing about the lighting, in here we can see how the lighting on the face from the mushroom was very two-dimensional, meaning the face and this mushroom were rendered like these are like two objects that are next to each other on one flat plane. Like, because of the mushroom is to the right from the face, then only the edges of the right side will be lit like this, without the consideration that the arm is actually in front, like three-dimensionally in front of the face, and that means that this mushroom is like towards this direction, like a bit closer to us as well, because the arm is in front of the face, and that means that the brightly lit edge will be not here, but like here. This is where it's actually facing the mushroom, so this will be the brightest part, and maybe even like this. So generally the face is lit much more like this, so like the light source is actually lighting up, and this is the center, like this. So the brightest spot is actually over here, and not just on two-dimensional edges of the object. And same thing goes for the lighting from the top. I kind of, like, it wasn't really a mistake, it looked pretty good, like lighting perfectly from the top. But to make it look a bit more like this is the nighttime, and this light is not coming from everywhere, otherwise this fog between the trees would be also much brighter the way the creature is. Instead of lighting the object like this from the top, like if the light would be going straight from the top, I actually light it up like this, actually more like over here. It's close to the top, but not really. So the light is actually coming a bit from us towards this creature, a little bit, mostly from the top, but a little bit. So at the edges, it's already like the head's getting darker, and the brightest spot is over here. And here we get brighter, and in there it's already darker. And now the lighting feels a bit more local, like this is just a spotlight that is lighting up this creature directly and nothing else. Looks much darker generally. Anyway, let's continue. Pretty much we need to bring everything I already did to a much better definition, improve the lighting around these glowing mushrooms, and see what we can do with the anatomy. This belly is a bit too bright and stuff like that. Alright, so I guess this is where we'll stop, more or less. So yeah, comparing to original, I think we have much more story to read. So this is almost the original, except I cropped it from the top a little bit. And this is what we got. Well, obviously, better framing really helps a lot. And when we actually have the head turned towards the mushroom and eyes looking at us, it kind of brings expression to the face just by the fact that the eyes are turned. Like it means something already. In here it was much more creepy, I guess, but at the same time the eyes were really dull, like the irises are really low contrast. I mean, no problem with that design or anything, but I kind of brought a bit more of a personality to these eyes when I added actual higher contrast and everything. I think he looks a lot less dangerous now. I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Also, the leaf on the forehead. This is what I meant when I said I want to make it a bit more artistic, expressive. Like there's dynamics, certain shade to it and everything. Like it's the leaf. That's kind of the point of this kind of stuff. And yeah, the lighting in this area is really the key moment of the picture, I think. So worked it through, made it actually look like a place that is lit specifically in 3 dimensions. So it looks rather nice. Still not sure about this all extra space at the top, but I just left it to make it look a bit more, I don't know, like there's certain transition to the forest. It may have some message to it, but we could go, I guess, like this. And now it's like much more just the picture, the portrait of this character. I don't know, I'm gonna keep it this way for no reason at all. So yeah, tell me guys what you think. I kind of messed up with the lighting in here, like the green glow from underneath the mushrooms that I came up with. I didn't really pull it off because it's actually a super high detail lighting, like there's like 20 light sources in here, and each and one of them should have a proper shadow directions and everything. And at the same time, there's this lighting going on, like whatever is lighting up this area. So it's also blending in here and casting shadows from the mushrooms, and I didn't really go through all of that, so it kind of looks a bit weird. But maybe if we just tone down the contrast over here, I left some dark spots that don't really make sense. If any of you guys want me to overpaint your artwork like this, link to my Patreon page is in the end of this video. You become a patron, you upload your picture, and I will overpaint it sometime. And for now, this is it. Thank you, Brybucks, for your submission. This was a really interesting character. It has like a personality, and it feels like the design was made with a certain amount of love to it, which is really cool. I just like it in general. There's something nice in just the overall feeling about this character. Yeah. And I thank you for watching if you did. I guess I did if you're here. Leave a like and subscribe. Tell a friend. Mind your own mushrooms, man. Do whatever you want. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. Yeah, not sure about working in portrait mode. Like, it seems like a good idea in general, but too many times my hand ends up being really close to the edge of the screen. So it's actually better to have it horizontally and have some empty, non-working space around the canvas where I could just rest my hand.